The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 93, Soul Dungeon. A loud clapping sound wakes Lorik up. He jumps off his couch and turns toward the sound. Just as he readies a spell, he sees Sarah and sighs. "Why'd you get me to?" Lorik asks with a groan while sitting down. Rowan is still in his bed but is sitting up. "Sorry, I couldn't risk waking Rowan," Sarah says before walking out of the room. "Oh, and Master's waiting," she shouts through the door. "Guess it's time," Rowan says while getting up. The two head downstairs and find Cyrilda, Vera, and Sarah in the living room. "Are you four ready?" Cyrilda asks. "Yeah. What time do we have to be there?" Rowan asks. "The dungeon opens in an hour, but we need to head there early to get ready." Cyrilda replies, "Is Leora coming?" Lorik asks after looking around. "She's on her way. I'll teleport us after she gets here." Cyrilda replies just as someone knocks on the door. "Speak of the devil," Lorik says while getting up. He walks to the door and opens it. "Good morning," Leora says before walking in. "Morning. So you've decided to come to the dungeon, despite the fit you threw about the soul flower?" Lorik says teasingly, causing her to stop in the hallway. "This trip to the dungeon isn't something as valuable. It's not like you could become a landowner for this." Leora replies after turning to face him. "But you still ate the flower, didn't you?" Lorik says, knowing the answer already. "Shush," Leora replies while turning and walking to the living room. "Now that we're all here, let's get going," Cyrilda says while standing up. A large magic circle appears centered around her. It encompasses everyone and spins quickly. A moment later, they teleport, and everything outside the magic circle turns hazy. They can see a blurred, fuzzy forest, or hills, or plains. It's hard to make out through the distortion. It only lasts for a few minutes before they stop and appear outside a large military fortress. It's made of stone, with a tower on each corner. The gates are opened, and there are soldiers inspecting everyone who enters. Everyone gathering so far is from the military. There are a few people from guilds, but they're off to Heaside waiting and talking amongst themselves. "So how exactly does this work?" Lorik asks after looking around. "For now, follow me," Cyrilda says while walking up to the gate. She passes right through the gate without stopping. None of the soldiers stop her or the others as they pass. A few even move out of the way to make room. After passing the gate, they find a large open field. It's covered by the fortress walls. There are a few buildings next to the gate, but aside from them, there's nothing else inside the walls. Cyrilda walks over to where a line is painted on the grass. Sarah, Rowan, Vera, and Leora, you all stand on the other side of the line, Cyrilda says after stopping before the line. "Why'd they paint a line here?" Vera asks while stepping over the line. The others do the same, leaving Lorik and Cyrilda behind the line. There are a few other groups of people, all either standing next to the line or on the other side. They're all wearing military uniforms. When the dungeon opens up, it sucks in the closest 100 people, but it won't pull in anyone who's a mage or grand mage. However, if we're standing too close, the dungeon will still try to pull us in. It'll fail, but it'll still count us as one of the 100 going in, so we'd waste a space someone else could have used. Cyrilda explains. "So we just stand here and wait?" Leora asks while turning and looking at the empty field. "Yep. The dungeon will become visible for a minute before it pulls you in. It'll remain visible until closing again after you're out." Cyrilda replies, "What happens once the 10 hours are up? Will it just push us out like it pulls us in?" Rowan asks. "Pretty much. You'll come back in the same spots you're in now, which is why we have you here by the line. This way, we can ensure nothing is blocking you when you come back out. We've never tested what would happen if you got pushed out while someone was standing where you were, and we're not interested in learning that either," Cyrilda replies. They continue chatting for a bit about the dungeon before Cyrilda asks them about their recent tasks. Sarah, Rowan, and Vera tell her about their recent team task. She tells them how they went to a slime dungeon. It's tougher than the goblin dungeon, but only because of the slime's characteristics. Their bodies are naturally immune to cutting and bashing and can regenerate, so they had to use magic and keep a distance, though Vera was able to cut them with her destructive blade spell. "How was your task, Lorik? I saw you accepted one but didn't look at the details," Cyrilda asks. "It was good. I went to a beastman dungeon and cleared it twice. I ran into a mimic during the second run," Lorik says, surprising her. Curse your luck, she mutters before smiling. What'd you get from it? She asks before Lorik holds up the necklace he had under his uniform. It boosts ice, fire, and sword laws. Had I known about mimics beforehand, I would have used my hunt and gravity laws. Instead, I cut its limbs off and Nixfang and I beat it to death. I used my sword aura, but I didn't add my hunt law to it to save time. Lorik says before putting it back under his clothes. Sorry, what's a mimic? Leora asks. It's a special monster that only ever appears in dungeons. Not this dungeon, only ones with monsters. So don't worry about encountering it. Anyway, they take the form of chests. They open up and try to eat you. From the sounds of it, Lorik found an advanced mimic which has arms and legs. Cyrilda says, causing Lorik to nod. Normal mimics don't have those and can't move. Legendary mimics have limbs and can use magic. But all mimics drop unique items. The items dropped change depending on the laws used to kill it. So had Lorik used his hunt law, the necklace might have increased his hunt law as well. That's why it's considered lucky to encounter them. Also, the stronger the mimic, the better the dropped item. Lorik, what grade is the necklace? Cyrilda explains. I'm not sure. They didn't tell me when I got it appraised. Lorik replies. Cyril nods before walking away. She comes back a few minutes later holding a small device. It's a stone cylinder with a blue gem on top. Cyrilda motions for the necklace, and Lorik takes it off. Cyrilda taps the gem against it before it lights up. A small screen appears with the description of the item. It's low-level diamond. That's really good for a D-rank dungeon. Then again, it was an advanced mimic. Cyrilda says before putting the device in her pocket. I wish I could make use of the fire and ice boost it gives, Lorik says, causing her to smile. You will be able to eventually. Once Nixfang becomes a mage, she can start sharing her law with you. Once you both become a 5th-tier mage, you can fuse. Speaking of which, what levels are your familiars at? Cyrilda asks them. Nixfang just reached 2nd tier. Lorik replies. Emberfang is at 4th tier, the same as me, Vera adds. Sindaros is 3rd tier, and so am I, Rowan says proudly. Skyriz is 4th tier, just like me, though he's close to 3rd tier. He should reach it in a few days, Sarah says. Cyrilda opens her mouth to say something before stopping. In the center of the empty field, a light appears. It's bright blue and grows quickly. Everyone stops what they're doing when it appears. Looks like it's time. Remember, get as close as you can to the mountain. Good luck in there. Cyrilda says before backing away from the line. She moves about 10 feet back and motions for Lorik to do the same. He follows her and looks around. Everyone else near the line moved back. They all wait for a minute before the light bursts. It fills the field in a bright blue light. The light engulfs everyone on the other side of the line. It stays for a few seconds before shrinking back to the person-sized light it was before. Everyone else on the other side of the line is gone now. They've been pulled into the dungeon. As soon as the light shrinks, people start moving. A group of researchers ran over to the dungeon. They take out various devices and tools and start setting them up. Come on, let's go see if it's the soul law, Cyrilda says while walking over toward the dungeon. Will it be that helpful to know if it is? I know I suggested this, but I'm not sure if it'll make a difference. Lorik says, causing Cyrilda to sigh. Of course it'll help. We have a few devices that use the soul law. If we can confirm it's the soul law that causes this, we can start researching it to see if we can reproduce its effects. Cyrilda says as they get close to the dungeon. One of the researchers walks over to greet them. It's an honor to meet you, Cyrilda. I take it this is your disciple? The man asks. He is, but I'm not sure if he'll be of much help aside from determining if it's the soul law or not, Cyrilda says, causing the man to smile. That's fine. We've long suspected that the soul law is the cause of the dungeon, but we've never had a way to verify before, since no one's felt the soul law clearly, let alone comprehended it. Simply knowing if it's the cause or not will be of tremendous help. The man replies, causing Cyrilda to give Lorik a told-you-so look. Can I touch the dungeon entrance? Lorik asks. He can't feel any laws coming off the dungeon entrance itself. Of course. The entrance has closed, so you can't enter it even if you wanted. The man replies before Lorik steps closer to it. He reaches out and puts his hand in the bright light. He closes his eyes and senses its laws. Wow! Lorik mutters before pulling his hand out. What is it? Cyrilda asks curiously as Lorik turns to face them. I can feel the soul law from it, but it's hard to put into words. The law is dense and powerful, far more than anything I could make with it. Lorik says while creating a soul sword. It feels like this, just so incredibly dense, Lorik adds, causing the researcher to nod. So it's caused by a dense and powerful source of the soul law, he says, speaking his thoughts aloud. But then, why can't we feel or detect anything out here? If it's that dense, it should be leaking traces. Another researcher who was listening in asks. Before anyone can answer, the dungeon lights up again. It stretches out and envelops Lorik in an instant. It shrinks and returns to normal, leaving an empty space where Lorik was.